Well, hi, and thanks for stopping by the Pellets and Pistons Airgun channel. Today we've got a nice little rifle that you can't buy anymore. They're not manufactured anymore. If you look real hard on the used market, you could probably find one. This is a CZ Slavia Model 631. Now, CZ is a company that's renowned for their sporting rifles, very accurate sporting rifles, and this airgun is no exception. This should perform quite well, which is why I've been lusting after one for quite some time. It's a sweet little single shotgun break barrel with a barrel latch, 177 caliber. However, it's not shooting up to spec, and I'll show you what we're getting for chronograph readings right now. Take a look at this. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it on the bench today. We're going to tear it down. We're going to get an idea what it needs, and we'll get those parts ordered, and then we'll put it back together again. Then we'll take it back out here, and we'll do another chronograph test to see what we were able to do as far as making a difference in how the gun performs. This gun should be shooting, I would guess, in somewhere between 500 and 600 feet per second. So it's certainly not a powerhouse, but it's ideal for backyard flinking, informal target shooting, and I can't wait to get this thing up and running the way it should. So stick around. This ought to be a good one, and thanks again for stopping by the Pellets and Pistons Airgun channel. So your first step is to remove the stock, which is a relatively straightforward operation. It's interesting that the cocking lever falls free of the receiver once the stock has been removed from the action. It does not engage with the receiver in a normal fashion, whereas the barrel pivot bolt must be removed before the cocking lever can be disengaged from the piston. There's a small metal tab inside the stock that the cocking lever rides on, which keeps it pushed into position while the stock is holding the action together. The trigger is next to be removed. There's one single pin that needs to be removed, and then the trigger can slide out of position. From there, you'll use a trigger guard bolt threaded into the underside of the rear cap, and that'll give you enough leverage to unscrew the cap. Care must be taken when you get near the end of the threads. There is some spring pressure here that will want to release as soon as the threads clear. Once the end cap has been removed, the spring and spring guide, as well as the piston, can all be removed from the receiver tube. Inspecting the piston seal reveals a lot of damage. This is probably the main culprit in our loss of velocity. Here I'm going to swab out the inside of the receiver tube using 91% isopropyl alcohol to degrease and remove any residual greases that may be within that receiver tube. A couple of dry patches and we're ready to reassemble the rifle. I've already removed the damaged piston seal, and now we're going to replace it with the brand new piston seal. You'll notice that I polished both ends of the piston, the bearing surfaces where the metal may contact metal. We'll do a dry fit to be sure the piston doesn't need to be sized. In this case, the fit is perfect. A little moly grease and a little goes a long way. A small dab on a Q-tip is really all you'll need. We're going to do the edges of that piston seal as well as the bearing surface just behind it of the piston. A little more moly to the rear bearing surface. When you reinsert the piston, you want to be sure that the slot within the piston is aligned with the slot of the compression tube. We polish the ends of the spring to try to reduce friction when the spring torques. You can see here that the original spring is quite a bit shorter than the new replacement spring. This is probably because the spring took a set. A little more of that moly paste, clear spring tar. This is the light tar when you don't need the real heavy black material. You can use this. It also will help to dampen vibration. It also acts as a very good lubricant for the spring. Spring guide gets inserted after the spring, and then you're ready to install the end cap. It's going to require quite a bit of force to get those threads to engage, but it can be done without a spring compressor. Here I'm aligning the slot for the trigger with the bottom of the receiver. There's a small spring that goes behind the trigger. It's hard to keep it in place, so a little dab of that clear spring tar will help to keep it in position while you insert it into the rifle. There's a recess on the sear that spring engages with, and you'll see that clearly. Once the trigger is in position, the final pin can be put into place for the trigger to pivot upon, and this will also hold the trigger in place. Now I'll take a small screwdriver and I'll make sure that the slot is opened up perfectly to receive the cocking lever. The cocking lever is held in place by a metal bearing surface that's installed within the stock, so the stock actually keeps it together. Okay, so the new parts are installed and it's time for the big test. Let's see if we were able to make a difference and get this thing shooting where it should be, which I'm thinking should be somewhere in the mid 600s, I would guess. If we're lucky, we'll do even better than that, but we'll see. So again, this has a little barrel latch that you push forward. That's the only plastic part on the entire gun. The rear sight's fully metal. The trigger guard, well, I'm sorry, the trigger guard is plastic also. So just this little piece here and the trigger guard are plastic, as well as the butt plate, of course. But it's just a pretty well-made rifle. Very nicely machined machine work on it. All right. So let's see what shot number one has to say. We'll do 5 shots and then we'll take an average. And we'll compare that to the 5 shots we did before the tune. Or the rebuild, I should say, not really a tune. Safety's on. 622. That's not too bad. That's right in the ballpark. It's a lot better than 4 and change. So I'd say that a rebuild was definitely in order. That piston seal, as you could see in the video, was pretty well worn. So I'm sure we had a lot of blow-by. Plus, there was about a ½ inch difference in the length of the new spring compared to the old one. So that should make a big difference too. Well, exactly 622 again. We got a duplicate reading. That's pretty cool. 622. Let's try shot number 3. 618. Not too bad. $5.98. That was a little bit of a drop. That was shot number 4. Huh. I wonder what that was about. And lastly, shot number 5. 604. So we'll take an average and we'll put that up on the screen for you. We'll show you the muzzle energy as well as the extreme spread. And we'll give you an idea of what it's doing now compared to last time. We'll put last time up as well. Alright, so that's the Slavia Model 631 rebuild. I think it came out pretty good. I'm real pleased with the results. We'll get some more trigger time in with this thing and we'll see how it performs. So far I have not been getting real good groups with it. I'm surprised because of the reputation that this gun has for accuracy, but it could just be that I don't have the right pellets. So we're going to keep shopping around for different brands of pellets until we find something that'll tighten this group up. Right now it's doing about maybe 1 inch to 1.25 inches at 25 yards, and I would expect a lot better than that out of a gun that has this kind of reputation. So we're going to mess around with that and see what we can come up with. But at any rate, that's the Slavia Model 631 rebuild today. I think it came out great, so we're going to celebrate by ringing that bell out there at 60 yards. Hopefully we'll get it on the first try. Oh yeah, there we go. Well, I want to thank you folks again for stopping by the Pellets and Pistons Airgun channel. If you haven't subscribed already, please do that. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and by all means hit the bell to be reminded of future videos. Thanks so much folks, and have a great day.